You're only as good as your last trade. I don't know that anybody sets out to be an entrepreneur. I think it just happens. Somebody has an idea and they say, I'm going to go with it and see what comes of it. What you want to do is push the envelope, give people a differentiator. Perception can become reality. So we convinced ourselves that we were going to be better because we were traders. I have no idea whether that's correct or not. To have the opportunity to change an industry in your lifetime is spectacular. To do it twice, I just had to take the challenge. I think it's critical that you never forget where you came from and you're humble in success. Somebody explained to me that if you are a product of the Depression, there is a wolf that is always at your door, regardless of how much money you have. You always think that you don't know where your next meal is coming from. My dad is a product of the Depression. He would talk about eating potatoes for a week, eating well for a week, eating potatoes for a week, eating well for a week. I would say to my kids, that meant you had a piece of chicken, in whatever you're eating as opposed to potatoes. I think it was extremely common, back then for dads not to be super emotional. It was just more like the provider. And my dad would talk about business at dinner table. And my dad had a lot of success and a lot of failures. An absolute legend. Just businesses that he built, things that he did, and all over the board. He bought the company that had the patent on what as a shrimp cocktail to real estate. He had a caboose company. He was trading silver and taking delivery of silver before that was fashionable. He was a great role model in the sense of he worked his ass off every single day. And there were parts of it that I didn't like because I felt like I grew up without a dad for part of the time. But looking back on it, I know his intentions were amazing. And my mom was just an angel, just an amazing person who passed away way too young, but tremendous influence on me. It was interesting because my mom and my dad are very similar to me and Tom. My dad is the visionary, up here coming up with ideas. Here, let's go do this. My mom was more the day-to-day. I'm more the day-to-day. So I'm not saying that I'm married to Tom, but I guess like a spouse.
Did you guys talk?
No, we didn't. And I didn't want you to make a comment about it, okay? It's bothering me already. There is no such thing as a silly question. Ask it. I'd rather have you ask before you make the trade. My desk has always been in the middle of the trade desk. I've never had a private office because I need to hear what's going on, both internally as well as externally, meaning customers calling in. I love talking to customers who will say, I want to make this trade, and then I'll ask why. What is it that's getting you to make the trade? Because sometimes what you'll see is a flaw in their thought process. Say, well, if you're trying to do that, then maybe you want to look over here. I am more than comfortable with people on the desk providing that type of support. And because for me, that's not a recommendation. That's just helping somebody work through their thought process.
We're building tastytrade to give something back. We're going to give you amazing technology, amazing rates and everything else, and you run with it.
When we launched in January of 17, within the first 3 weeks, all the big houses lowered their ticket charges. And I smiled. And I said, I really appreciate it because they knew what we were capable of doing, and we did. I've had tons of emails from customers over the years just thanking us for what we do. More importantly, how we've done it. My dad would always say that he wasn't a gambler, that the most he would ever bet is a quarter. What took me 40 plus years to realize was he was the largest gambler that I've ever met. Not casino gambling. He wasn't betting on sports, he wasn't betting on table games, he would gamble on himself, which is what I always say that I do. I'll bet whatever you want on myself. If you allow the industry and the quote unquote experts to say, you don't know what you're doing, let us do it for you, you've lost.